So here I was, just minding my Beyonce-filled business, and all of a sudden, I decided to check Twitter. And when I hop on Twitter, Bungie drops a bombshell about the upcoming Lightfall raid. Let's get into it. I was actually in the middle of finishing up another video that I'm hoping to get out in the upcoming week, but this news from Bungie was just too good and too important to not make a comment on, and also hear from you all of what you all think in this moment, and also kind of what you all are seeing as the implications for the game going forward. But if you haven't already known, they now have a new handle called Destiny 2 Team, and there they announcing that it's going to be a 48-hour contest mode. Now, for some of you all, whether you're a new light or a returning player, you may be wondering, why is this such a big deal? Well, it's such a big deal because there's always been a certain level of prestige that is accompanied by not only participating in typical 24-hour raid races, but also being able to place and perform at a high level. This is ingrained in the community. There's a lot of feedback on it. And so folks are really used to being able to do this in 24 hours, be able to get a specific emblem for that achievement if they're able to get through the raid in the first 24 hours and then be able to flex that off in the community. Now, is there anything wrong with getting a title or getting an achievement in the game and then flex it in the community? Me personally, I'd say no. I think in and of itself, getting achievements in the game is not a bad thing. It gives you something to strive for. If you haven't already watched my other video about don't get bored, I kind of talk about this a little bit, but there's so much that you can do in the game that keeps you going. Being able to have certain emblems, certain titles, certain achievements that you have to work for in game is an honorable thing. That said, people are coming out of the woodworks and are not happy about this shift. Now, we do know that with the last raid race, there was an extension with Val the Disciple because of how many error codes there were. It just was an unfair advantage of so many teams. Top teams that we've seen consistently place really well were ranking much lower than they have in the past because they kept getting kicked to orbit, kept getting error coded, all these different things with their team. So Bungie extended it to 48 hours. It allowed a lot more folks to be able to get engaged in Valid Disciple, and then there are a lot more emblems that are handed out. A lot of folks I name as elitists, were upset about that. They're upset that why would you give these people that chance? Why would you do all this, why would you just give in to these weak people? Like there's just a lot of toxic comments that are going out there. And at the end of the day, people got their emblems, although it was some time later, and we all kept going. We lived our lives. People who wanted to flex the emblem got a chance to flex the emblem, and we moved forward. Now, before there's any error codes, before there's any hiccups in the system, Bungie is preemptively opening up to be a specifically 48-hour contest mode. So rather than trying to strive for the original 24-hour contest mode and anything that might go on with that system, they are now explicitly saying, we're going to make the game more accessible. We're going to make the opportunity to engage in a day one raid race more accessible, and we're going to make it 48 hours. In Bungie's own words, they say, we are extending contest mode an additional day to allow teams pursuing the emblem more chances to take breaks, as well as allow anyone who has commitments on Friday to still have time to participate. More details will be available in a future TWAB. So loud and clear, Bungie is coming out saying we don't want to see people being dehydrated, passing out because they haven't gotten enough sleep or didn't have enough time to actually feed themselves because they're such in a hurry to be able to be the best team or do all these different things to really dissuade people from engaging in unhealthy habits, and also opening up the opportunity for folks who work normal 9-to-5 jobs to engage. Even if they can't engage on a Friday, they still have time to be able to engage in the raid race, have fun, go for the challenge of contest mode, and overall just making it a more accessible experience. Now you must say to yourself, who would be against accessibility? Who would be against allowing more people to enjoy the game? Well, lo and behold, it's a lot of people. The social media streets are on fire right now, and I'm sure from now to the next 12 where we get more details, all the way up until the actual day of the raid race, there will be a lot of commentary on this. But for me, I'm not seeing anything ultimately wrong with this. I'm concerned because I'm seeing a lot of people, especially creators and streamers that I look up to, trying to kind of fall into the category of like, oh, I'm neutral on this, but like, I just don't understand. One, I don't understand why people would want to be negative against this, and two, why would you be neutral? Overall, if you are a high skill player, if you are on a high skill team, if you've participated in day one raid races before, you're gonna place. If you've placed before, you're generally in practice and you've generally played the game, you're going to place again, unless you've just ridiculously lost a bunch of skill. How does allowing people to have access to this opportunity to contest mode, which we only have during raid 1 races at this point in time, hurt you? This is a once in a blue moon experience in the community that people have the opportunity to make new bonds with new friends, to dig deeper into the game, have a new fresh feeling of the game. This is a once in a lifetime. It's not really a once in a lifetime, but it's kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for folks to engage in the game in this way. And if you are a high skill player, what are you actually complaining about? When Bungie is making a decision like this, where ultimately it's contest mode isn't being easier, Divinity's still nerfed, like all the things that are moving us to this moment. The core of those aspects of the game have not changed. All you're doing is allowing the door to be a little bit more big for more people to go through. But ultimately, if you're a high skill player, you will be up at the top. More people finding incentive to be involved in the game equals more people having more investment in the game, which means more people playing the game, which means a healthier player base, and ultimately us being able to be in a space where everything from like LFGs to folks participating and wanting to have a really good player pool for PvP, it all spawns from these type of moments of people actually being able to have an investment of the game to say, you know what, I can't get this experience anywhere else. I can't get this experience in Final Fantasy. I can't get this experience in Apex. I can't get it in whatever game you want to name, right? This is something that's so unique to Destiny. And for folks to want to make this just a very cut and dry, it's 24 hours or nothing, I need my emblem, I'm better than everyone else, I'm sorry, you're weird. And I'm gonna say it again, that's weird, you're weird, and it's just not cool. Now, am I being a little bit more spicy than I normally am? Yes, I fully acknowledge that. I'm not really an antagonistic person. I'm not here to like pick fights, but I can sit here and also honor the fact that I feel very upset and very frustrated by people who really want to ruin the experience of the game with no actual valid reason or argument to say the same. Even some of the top players who are top, like their teams were placing at the top tier, like we're talking top 100 teams of this being an international contest, mind you, saying that it's a big W, saying that it's a bold move from Bungie, yes, but also like there's no harm in it. This is actually like a good move from Bungie, because at the end of the day, they know, as people who are actually competitive, just to be frank, again, I'm not at that level. I never claimed to be. But these are people who are at that level, who are competitive in a day one raid race realm and are saying, let's give this a chance. Or they're saying this is actually a really good move. So what is the excuse? What is the excuse if you're not at that level, if you're not those teams? What is the excuse for being upset at this change? Do you want an emblem? You're going to get an emblem. Do you want accolades? You're going to get your accolades. That's not changing. The only thing that's changing is allowing more people the opportunity to experience a unique time in the game that is not replicated anywhere else inside the game, and it's not replicated anywhere else in the MMORPG field. So again, I love me some nuance. I love being able to hear different sides of the arguments, but this is just one of those pieces where, me personally, I just don't see how you can be upset. You could disagree with the decision. That's your perspective, of course. But for me, being upset about this decision is a totally different thing. And I just don't understand how and why people would use their time and energy to not only talk down to other people on the internet, which is weird, but also be in a space where you are actively trying to make the game less accessible, less open for everyone to enjoy. Again, those are my 2 cents on it. I have to get back to these other videos that I have for the upcoming week, but I did just want to stop in and let my piece be known on this, because for me, with the content we do on this channel, the guides, the walkthroughs, the breakdowns, I'm really trying to be a part of the solution. I'm trying to be a part of making the game more inclusive and clear and accessible for folks. And for me, to not sit here and acknowledge that this is a good move feels kind of weird. And so I would love to hear from other folks. Am I just like out of pocket? Am I out of place? Do you feel like the 48-hour contest mode is actually not of value? I honestly would love to hear from folks, because I am both unclear of why some folks are so against this move, as well as I would love to know if I'm in this by myself, or do other folks think that this is a pretty solid move. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into some good discussion. Peace.